give us a picture of what that would look like and the mitigation that they would take place and who will take care of that, right? Because if it's in front of a building, does that belong to the super? Does that belong to the city? Who will be responsible to, to make sure that this place is doesn't become a menace for the community and those who will have it in front of them?
Absolutely, and those are questions that we hope to have addressed. Not hope, we will have addressed at our June general board meeting, along with others.
And also, the fact that sanitation is doing the pilot program, would they not be responsible for managing the program?
I would think in conjunction with the supers of the building. I mean, they can't be in charge of it. They'll be in charge of picking the trash up. Currently, when trash is picked up in front of a building, the super's in charge of making sure that the sidewalk is clean and the curb is clean. So I'm assuming with these containers, it will continue in that fashion. But we will get a definite at the meeting. I'm just assuming, please don't quote me.
Right.
But I understand your concerns, Dr. Torres.
Carolyn, if I may, I was communicating with Sean Abreu earlier today regarding the pushback from some members of the board and just brought those things to his attention. As far as garbage being left behind after they pick up the containers, people often will bring garbage right to the container. Maybe it's full, they're going to set it on the side. I've seen that done at the waste paper baskets in the area, the composting bins in the area as well. He says that it's a pilot program, right? And we will determine some of the things going forward for this program, like where they're going to be placed, how to keep them clean. They're starting with the schools. I think all the schools in the district will get them because that's one of the biggest problems right now is the schools putting out trash every day and they're not picking up trash every day. So going forward, we will have input from the board how this program is moving forward. I brought to him the concern of parking spaces. Parking is tough as it is. And I was just wondering out loud if the containers, I don't know what size they actually are, could they put them on the sidewalk and pick them up alternate side of the street parking when the curb is free? They could get to the, to the sidewalk and pick them up, depending on the size of the container. No one's been able to describe the actual dimensions of the container so far, so I don't know if we can do that, but just a thought. I did express that there's concerns on the board, and he said he will be at the meeting in June and trying to get, as Prince said, sanitation commissioner to come as well. So that was kind of my back and forth with him, but thank you.
And Victor, I also spoke with Ms. Prince regarding the parking situation. If they put them in the streets, it would be taking up parking again. Right,
that's what I was saying.
And Barry mentioned to me earlier today, we had a discussion. He said he had spoken to you and Pat when we were given the pilot program about the zip cars.
Yes.
That we should have contacted DOT and then informed him at that point that we were being considered. So I don't know. That's something we could address with DOT if they could eliminate some of those zip cars in the district, because we're already inundated with without having parking spaces.
Yeah,
I would add to that, Victor, to what you're saying, that also this can be a deterrent to the amount of bikes that we have seen on the sidewalk, because if you have that container, they will know that, look, the street is not as wide. If you go to 147, you see that the sidewalk in the school is pretty wide. So if you put that container there, folks can still travel, but those who have a bike will not have that free lane, which we have seen that's also a problem here. So I like the idea of putting it on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thought. We can explore that. Like I said, they're saying it's a pilot program, so we could ask about that and see if it works in certain blocks. They're only going to do 10 blocks within the district for the pilot, so we can look at those and see how they're going, and maybe we'll have a choice to where they go and we can talk about that as well. So,
Okay,
Yutha, may I make a comment?
Sure.
Louis?
I'm thinking also, when we do this pilot, documentation beats conversation. If you can take a picture of, let's say if it's overfilled or it's leaking, you can put a date stamp on your camera and take a picture of it so we can have documentation to support if it's working or it's not working. I think that'll be key. If, you know, if this pilot, let's say if it's, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months, we have pictures of community residents taking pictures to say, this is the day, it's May 4th, 6:52. Let's look at, here's what I saw. And then send that in so we can have documentation as we go along during this 6-month pilot to say, hey, this is what it is. Here are our concerns. Everything, documentation beats all the conversation anybody needs. So I put like a little link in the chat. So if anybody's thinking about it, you can download it to your phone and take a picture of something and it has the date and the time. And then we can put that into like a file and say, hey, here's hundreds of pictures of some things that we don't like.
Carolyn, I would suggest if one of your committee members, I know you're hosting or chairing the meeting, could jot down these ideas, and this is something that could be shared.
and I'm sorry. I saw the report this morning on Fox 5 when they were talking about this pilot program, and it cannot be implemented to be on the sidewalks because supposedly the truck is going to line right next to these dumpsters, and there and I guess it's something that it has that's going to pick up the trash and toss it into the truck. So the truck cannot go onto the side. In order for that to happen, for us to have the dumpsters on the sidewalk, the truck would have to drive up to the sidewalk.
right, that's why I mentioned that they could
Yes.
do it or during alternate side parking, when everyone's supposed to move their cars from the curb, the truck would
Right.
have access to the sidewalk on those days. Just a
Right.
thought.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good thought.
And this is something that is done in other countries. Like if you go to Israel, for example, you'll see those trucks in the morning at 6 o'clock, like Victor said, just picking it up and throwing it out. But also the city puts an emphasis on cleaning those areas because of the garbage accumulation that happens in that particular space.
We have it here down in Virginia, and they've been having, I've been down in Virginia now for 5 years, and all the trucks, all the sanitation trucks, they don't touch it. They have one guy driving, they pick it up and drop your bin right back where it is. So we'll see. That's all I can say. It's a pilot, but I express this to Yutha and I express this to Victor that I think the community board should have known and not have to find out through a doggone AM article where I got it from. I just think it's unfair that they bypass the process. When we talk about community engagement and transparency, that's not transparency if you got to read it in the paper.
Right, that's true.
Very true, Louis. Not only that, besides for that, we've gotten a lot of things come to us with a pilot program that some worked and some didn't work, so that means it doesn't mean that this won't work, but like you said, it should have came to us before that. But we'll find out going forward. We'll find out going forward. You at the moment, I don't see anybody willing to take the notes, so I'm doing the best I can. Up next is go ahead, Victor.
I'm sorry. No, I was just breathing. Sorry.
Well, we want you to do that, Victor. We want to make sure.
Thank you for the concern, Louis. I appreciate it.
Is Captain Rivera still there? I don't see her.
She's still on the screen. I don't know if she's actually there, but her name is on the screen.
I see it on the screen. So I'll go with Detective Harper.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Detective Harper, 26th Precinct Community Affairs. I'm here on behalf of Captain Jose Tavares, who apologizes that he couldn't participate in tonight's Zoom meeting. The information I have this evening is the crime report covering the 28-day period between, roughly between the beginning of April and the end of April, about April 30th. So, as you know, with this crime report, we report on the 7 majors: murder, rape, robbery, felony, assault, burglary, grand larceny, and auto larceny. Unfortunately, for these seven crimes that I described, we're up 43.1%, 83 compared to 58 for the same period last year. The breakdown is as follows. Murder, we had no murders reported for the period. However, we did have a shooting that occurred recently. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. That happened in front of 95 Old Broadway. The details of that particular shooting incident are as follows. So according to our complaint report, on April 25th, 2023, at about 1:15 in the morning, it says that the officers responded to a radio run of a male shot at 95 Old Broadway. Upon arrival, responding officers observed a male in the lobby of 95 Old Broadway laying supine with an apparent gunshot wound to the victim's left thigh. Responding officers rendered aid by applying a tourniquet and the victim was removed by ambulance to St. Luke's Hospital for treatment. According to the report, the victim was uncooperative. However, they did identify a suspect by the name of Jermaine Ferguson, who's described as male, black, 46 years of age, 6'1", 190 pounds. So even though the victim in this particular shooting was uncooperative, we do have a suspect that we're looking to make an arrest on. And so we're confident that at some point there'll be an arrest made in connection with that particular shooting incident. Moving right along with the report and go back again. So that was, a shooting that occurred. Rapes, we had one reported for the period. It was an acquaintance rape. It was a 18-year-old student who was raped by a person that she had had relations with in the past, but she did not consent this time. So that's the one rape we have for the period. Robbery, we're up slightly. That's 9 compared to 6. So we're up by 50% increase. Felony assaults, we had 12 reported for the period compared to 11 the same period last year. So we're up by 1 compared to last year. Burglaries, we're up by 1 as well, 5 compared to 4. So we're up by 1 for burglaries as well. Grand larcenies, there seems to be a significant uptick in grand larcenies, 39 compared to 27. From what I can tell, historically, most of our grand larcenies, historically have been unattended property thefts, but a lot of them lately have been driven by property crimes along Riverside Drive. We have vehicle break-ins. So in response to that, there's going to be an increase in police activity and a uniform presence along Riverside Drive. I just left a meeting with the CO, and that's one of the things that he mentioned that the new borough commander wants to do to try to address this situation. And so I think at least once or twice a week in the next couple of weeks, you're gonna see an increase in police presence and some more enforcement along Riverside Drive, just to kind of mitigate and deter a lot of these break-ins that are occurring along Riverside Drive. And then finally, grand larcenies were up significantly in auto larcenies, 17 compared to 5. So I wish I had a little bit more information. I'm just getting back from vacation. I didn't have time to comb over this more thoroughly, but the auto larceny, that's a significant increase. We're talking about 240% change in auto larcenies. And I don't know, because I haven't read the report, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these auto larcenies again happened along Riverside Drive. So one of the things that we did, we had a discussion with the council member, Shauna Brew, and there was discussions about getting cameras along the Riverside Drive viaduct, area, in order to provide like a set of like video for the area, so that when these crimes occur, we can get a plate number. We may be able to possibly identify a suspect. And so the last conversation we had, which was about 2 months ago, was that they had to submit some documentation in order to make this request. We did get a commitment for these cameras, but they had to submit some documentation. So lately we had one of our NCOs follow up with their office, and we're just waiting to hear back from them. And we're kind of hopeful that we'll get these Argus cameras, these NYPD cameras that you see, these pole cameras. And we're hoping that with the placement of these cameras, or at least one of these cameras along Riverside Drive, it'll help to also act as a deterrent and reduce the amount of car break-ins and car thefts that are occurring from that Riverside Drive corridor. And that's my report.
Detective Hopper, most of the PLAs, aren't they on the Honda cars?
Well, so, when it came to catalytic converter thefts, which was a big crime as well, they affected the import cars like Toyotas and Hondas. So your Honda CRVs, your Toyota Prius, various Toyota vehicles, for whatever reason, they tend to target these vehicles for their catalytic converters. And just for auto theft as well. So you're correct. Yeah, just the Japanese import cars for whatever reason are like easy targets. And lately I've been hearing, I think it's Hyundai or Kia. I think it's Kia. We've seen like citywide a rash of thefts related to, I believe, the Kia vehicles as well.
Any other questions for Detective Hopper?
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Oh, go ahead, Victor.
Go ahead, Edwin.
Edward?
Yes, hi, Detective Harper. Thank you for the report. Would you mind sharing the actual number that correspond with the percentages? Because sometimes when I hear the 265% increase,
Yeah, the wording they use is change. So they're not saying it's necessary. I don't know if it's necessarily an increase. It's the difference between last year, 28-day period, and this year. So this year we reported 17 crimes for that 28-day period, whereas last year we reported 5. And according to this report, that's a 240% change.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the N is 17. It's just because it helps me understand what is taking place, because we play around with statistics. But thank you.
Right, gotcha.
Harper, how are you? Just quick question for you. This might overlap into the 2.8, but in recent, I'd say in the last 3 months, cars have had all 4 wheels stolen. I saw it up on Morningside Drive and 116th last Saturday. I saw it on Morningside Avenue just the other day. Is that your area or that's 2.8?
So Morningside Drive is our area, between 110 and all the way to 122nd Street. That's totally us. Morningside Avenue is a little trickier. Depends specifically on where it is. We have the park side of Morningside Avenue,
Right.
and opposite the park it would be the 20th precinct.
2.8. Had you heard of the cars having the all 4 wheels stolen?
No, I haven't, to be honest with you. Doesn't mean it hasn't occurred. I just,
No, it has occurred. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw a Honda just sitting on the ground, a brand new Honda, actually. 2 Saturdays ago, I went to Columbia. The car was sitting there. So, I mean, that's an old thing you used to see, but I've been hearing more about that recently. People stealing all 4 tires. So,
Still happens, yeah.
Yeah.
It was big in the 5-0 about, I want to say, right before the pandemic. They caught the guys that were responsible for it, but in the 5-0 precinct, which is Riverdale, there were a rash of those type of, like thefts of, tires and rims.
Right.
So it happens.
Okay. Thank you, man.
I have another question, Dr. Harper. We have seen in the community many trucks that are parked, especially behind City College, inside City College. You have a school bus that parks there every night. It's not, it gets easily camouflaged because you're inside City College. At the Health and Environmental Committee and the Community Board, we passed a resolution because this is not only parking. This is an issue of having our air being more polluted because you have these trucks. We had the truck depot down on 145th. Everybody remember that this was a big, problem for the community. We have a scattered truck depot in the community, and you see the same trucks parking night after night after night after night. The residents of CB9s are the one cleaning the air from these trucks because they're not ticketed. They park there weekends, every single night. You and I can go out tonight. I'll show them to you. We can go out every single night and I'll show them to you. We need enforcement to deter these folks because this is not only the parking, but it's impacting our community health. We have the highest rate of asthma, one of the highest rates of cancer, and it has been directly linked to the nitric oxide that these trucks spew into our community.
So if I understand you correctly, you're talking about trucks parked along St. Nicholas Terrace, correct?
That is correct, sir. And we have some in, Amsterdam Avenue, inside City College, and you'll see them. They park there night after night after night after night. It's basically a scattered truck depot that we have in this district.
So what I would encourage people to do is two things. First of all, if it's happening early enough in the evening, our neighborhood coordination officers, a direct line of communication. You got their department cell phone numbers. If you see these things, call them up directly and bring it to their attention. And even if you have to take a picture of it and send it to them in real time and say, listen, this truck is here right now. If you guys aren't busy, can you come over here, issue the summons, find out who owns this truck, so we could so that we can discourage them from parking here. The other thing I would also encourage people to do, if it hasn't been done already, is to lodge your complaints with 311 because it's documented with the city. So if enough of them are made through our 311 system, then it's not something we could ignore because it's a chronic condition. So it's important that it's great that people are making these observations, but we want to make sure it's being documented, and we want to make sure that the officers that are responsible for that particular area are addressing the condition by bringing it directly to their attention.
Are there any other questions for Detective Harper? Thank you, Detective Harper. Were you able to look at the liquor licenses?
You may need to resend it, Ms. Thompson, because I saw something regarding say open street, and I said I appreciate, thank you for sending that, but I didn't see anything regarding liquor licenses. Nothing recent. The one I got was from April 2nd, and I don't think that was the one you're referring to because we had already responded to that. So if you could just resend it to me so I could take a look at it again.
Because there's 7 of them, so I'll resend them again.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Carolyn, you have a raised hand. I don't know if it's a legacy. David Vassar, Transportation Alternatives.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Yeah, this is a great discussion. I used to attend these community meetings quite a bit in years past. I'm involved in other campaigns involving, for one thing, getting fracked gas completely out of New York State's energy loop, and electrifying buildings in New York City. That's another a huge environmental campaign. But another one, I have to say, and I've got to push back against this, emphasis on retaining the public space that is our streets for privately owned cars. I mean, only about 22% of CB9 area residents own cars, but it just seems like they're kind of disproportionately represented here in this meeting. I'm a cyclist. I've spoken with many neighbors who are too afraid to ride their bikes on our streets because they are simply too dangerous. Too many cars moving too fast. Many folks seem to be opting for SUVs this day, maybe to feel competitive out there. I'm not sure what, but it's rough going. I'm a veteran cyclist. I'm pretty assertive, and I know how to bike our streets, but we've really got to make the streets safer for cycling and encourage people to get on this eco-friendly, healthy, non-polluting, quiet form of transportation. It's fantastic. I'm 67. It's keeping me young, I think, until I have a close encounter with an SUV, I guess. Hopefully that won't happen. But really, I mean, streets are public space, and we need to reallocate, slowly but surely phase out street parking for privately owned cars. We need more trees in the city and fewer cars, more bike lanes, more walking space. And, it's noisy and polluted and dangerous on our streets. So that's basically it. I'm a cycling fanatic. I want my neighbors, kids, young and old, to be able to bike on our streets. It's a fantastic city, great way to get around. So thanks for listening.
You're welcome. That is your opinion, Mr. Vassar, but things like that will happen maybe in time, but people have a right to drive. People have a right to buy the car that they want, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Thank you.
Victor, unmute. Victor,
Yes,
like to speak on that issue?
no,
Okay, we'll move right on.
It was also noted in the chat that we need enforcement for all double parked cars as well.
Exactly, and I'm with that. Officer Schumer. Officer Schumer, unmute.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well in this nice, beautiful weather. The rain has finally stopped. I'm from the 30th precinct. I'm gonna go over our 28-day numbers. The 3-0 is looking very good as far as our numbers are concerned. We are at 0 murders versus 0 last year, 0 rapes versus 3 last year, a decrease of obviously 100%. We are at 6 robberies versus 9 last year. We're at 9 felony assaults versus 21 last year.
Hold on, Schumer. Let's go on to the beginning. Going a little fast.
Can email it to you, Carolyn.
We'll email it to you, Carolyn. We got you.
All right, thank you, sir.
No problems.
We
are at-
that anyway. Okay, so go on with the other.
We're at 4 burglaries versus 4 last year. We're at 19 grand larcenies versus 31 last year. And we're at 8 grand larceny of autos versus 8 last year, for a total of 46 index crimes versus 76 last year, which is a decrease of 40%. And just to put those numbers into perspective, because like we said, these are just numbers. As far as the 77 precincts in New York City are concerned, in the current 28-day period, we are 77 as far as lowest numbers reported crimes. So, which is, just an outstanding number, and it's a testament to your officers on the streets, keeping our residents safe. Just a couple of things to touch on. It's a citywide issue where we are not exempt from it, from stolen vehicle theft. One of the things that we are seeing, backing up from what Detective Harper was saying, is the theft of Kias and Hyundais. And more particularly, it's a theft of Kia and Hyundais from 2011 to 2021. And somebody on the internet, very smart, figured out that if you take a screwdriver and pop off the steering column and where the key fob where the manual key goes into, they figured out that you put a USB stick right into that, it'll turn on the car automatically. And a lot of kids were seeing it on TikTok, on Instagram, social media, and they learned that they were able to steal a car with just a quick turn. So that is what citywide we've been seeing, a really big spike in theft. A couple of things that Kia and Hyundai have done is they're offering a free upgrade for if your car falls under those parameters. You bring it to the dealership, they already know about it, and they can easily put in a bypass. So therefore, no one can just easily break in. And another thing that they're actually doing this Saturday in the Bronx, where originally it was only available for Bronx residents, but what I was recently told, it's now anyone citywide who owns a Kia or a Hyundai and fits under those parameters, you can actually pick up an AirTag to put in your car to keep your car trackable. What we're seeing is vehicles that are trackable are, where it makes it a lot easier for the police department to not only recover your vehicle, which obviously it's a quite expensive purchase. You want that vehicle returned to you, but also, and the most importantly thing is make an arrest and keep someone accountable for stealing your vehicle. AirTags, for all that don't know, are tiny little circles. I can show you a picture of one. Put it up to the camera. It's this little thing right here. Multiple companies make them, AirTag, Tile, whatever company that you choose to purchase. We can't recommend a specific one, but I can say that they are very easy, very cheap, and it keeps track of your items. What I just showed you on the camera, this is my wallet. I have one on my wallet. It can do everything from, I'm leaving for work for today, and I'm like, oh shoot, where did I put my wallet today? I can go to my phone and it can tell me up to the foot where my wallet is. Or let's say the night before I left it at work, it'll tell me, hey, my wallet is still at the 30th precinct. So, just having this technology is super helpful for everyday things. And actually, we recommend it also for everything. You have a bike, you have a scooter, I know, they're saying people are very bike advocates, and some bikes are very expensive. They can go for up to $5,000-$6,000, and that's an important purchase for people. Put it in a discreet location inside the bike. So therefore, let's say you leave your bike out and you totally forgot about it, and someone, God forbid, steals it. We're able to quickly track it, recover it, and as well make a good arrest off of it. And otherwise, that concludes. Questions for anybody?
Yes, I have a question. One thing, Officer Stumer, AirTags only work with Apple products. They don't work with Android, so people need to know that.
Yes, from what I was told, we had a nice meeting about this with crime prevention officers, and they said they are working with Android to try to make them compatible because Apple has realized the importance of, you know, how vital their product is. And just to piggyback something I totally forgot to mention, today we had a meeting with all of Manhattan North with our nightlife. As I'm sure everybody is aware, Manhattan North is obviously a hot ticket location for people looking to, you know, enjoy the night, enjoy, you know, going to the club, going to a bar, however they, you know, choose to spend their time. And it is a concern of us to keep this summer a safe summer for people enjoying themselves. So we had a nice meeting today with all the local bars, all of Manhattan North, with our supervisors, just to keep everybody on the same page to know that, you know, we want to keep the residents' concerns as well as the business concerns on our radar. And if anybody has any bars, any clubs, happily send them my way. I can happily speak with them. I know that, you know, that is a concern, especially in the 30th precinct, as far as nightlife. And, you know, that is something that we are keeping a very close eye on this summer. And as far as that, any questions?
Officer Stewart, did you see any of the liquor license that I sent?
Yes, and we had sent them to the captain.
Yeah, I mean, she said she hasn't seen them yet.
I don't believe we had any objections, but we will get back to you, Carolyn.
I need to know because this is the second month that I haven't got an answer.
Let me.
I'll wait. She said she's gonna look at them tomorrow.
Yes, we'll reach out to you, Carolyn, tomorrow, 100%.
Don't forget to send me the stats.
Yes, we said she should have it. Espinal sent it.
Any other questions for Officer Stillman?
Yes, Carolyn, I have a question about the place billiards and bar on
Yes.
Broadway. Are you familiar with the issue we're having there?
Yes, multiple community complaints for noise, especially in the
Right.
evening to early morning hours.
Also serving of liquor. They don't have a liquor license. They have a bar, they have a beer and wine license, but they're serving liquor there as well. So where does that stand?
We are looking at some long-term solutions to the location, including, you know,
Long-term,
yes,
about the short term.
well, let me rephrase that. We are looking at a solution that I can't really go into detail 100% right now that will hopefully alleviate all the problems that are having there. Just to also, for short term, starting tonight, we have a sector car that will be exclusively assigned to 311 complaints, which is what the bar is having. We had reached out to EPA, we had reached out to SLA. We are trying to figure out a solution to the location. We know that the complaints are coming in a lot, and we are, you know, just trying to figure out something that can hopefully resolve everyone's issues.
And Officer Stewart, just to back up what Victor said, all of this information I sent over to the precinct. What Victor said, I sent all of that over there. At that time, it went to Deputy Inspector Corrigan, so he's no longer there. So you got to send that information over to Captain Rivera, so she'll be up to date with what we're going through with this bill.
Yes, she has been made aware, and we are very active. We are planning a business inspections in the coming days. You know, it is something that we are actively trying to mitigate.
So just a follow-up, because there's a question in the chat. One was how do they get, if they're serving liquor but only have a beer and wine license, how do they get shut down? Is that you, sheriff? Who does that?
It would be actually SLA as well as us. So, you know, it would be a joint effort. I've been speaking with SLA. We have a contact there now we are working to figure out a good time and place to conduct inspections at the location.
Okay, so
Yes.
When they sent the original application, which was some time ago, they requested liquor, wine, beer, and cider. That was an old application. I haven't seen a new application. So that means, like Victor said, if they're serving liquor now, are they still serving it under the old application? Because we haven't renewed a new application.
So was the old application approved for liquor?
Well, that was back some time ago. So by
And
now,
that's-
they had to, for renewal application, they have to do it every 2 years, and I haven't seen one.
How old are they?
I have to look at that last application. I don't have it before me.
All right.
But I know it's not recent.
The second thing, Officer Schumer, was you're gonna have a sector car responding to 311 complaints, correct?
So
Mhm.
just kind of give everyone a background of how New York City Police Department works is there are police cars that go around that answer 911 calls. Those are the cops that are, you know, someone fell and they can't get up, someone's
Right.
having a dispute. Those are your you know, basic run of the mill 911, here's a car.
Right.
From over the last couple months, those cars on top of 911 calls were also answering 311 calls on the side of it. And what was happening is sometimes these 311 calls were we putting to the side, our response times were getting a little longer than how they wanted. So starting tonight, citywide, not just in the 3-0, they're assigning 2 officers in a car, and they're not answering 911 calls. All they'll be doing are answering the quality of life 311 calls that are coming through our system. So therefore, they're answered in a timely manner and not, you know, pushed to the wayside of a 911 call.
So anyone here on this call that lives above or near this billiards bar would have to call 311 for that car to respond.
They can
Correct?
call they can call the precinct. They can, you know, they can still call 911 and they can transfer it. Unfortunately, when it comes to noise, especially, you know, commercial noise, there are a lot of rules that do come into place. You know, officers can only enforce noise complaints within reason. And the way we're trying to describe it is, you know, especially with commercial noise, is you need a sound reading, you know, where we have to take a sound meter out and apply it. And if it's above a certain reasonable level.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's, and, you know, and as well as, you know, EPA, I don't think anyone from EPA is on right now. From the last conversation we had with them, you know, they had stated that it's generally their policy that they issue a summons for the noise complaint, and they normally wait for the summons to clear out before issuing another summons. You know, I wish I had a better answer for EPA. I think EPA would maybe be better at explaining why they go about doing that. But yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Carolyn, so we will be following up with DEP about this noise pollution, but I'm very concerned as to an establishment that gets to sell illegal liquor without a license. And for us in this community not to take prompt action. You know, if this were happening in the Upper East Side, you better believe that this thing will be shut down overnight. It's there. They're selling illegal liquor and in their license. So we need, you know, this has to be something that is urgent. Besides the noise, they're violating the law.
Oh,
So that's SLA.
Edwin, if they're working with the SLA, okay, to find out if they are serving the illegally, the SLA will let them know. Meantime, as I said to Victor, I will go over the old application and see if they're working on the old application. Like I said, every liquor license that is put in this establishment, they have to resubmit every 2 years for renewal. So that means I'll go back and check. Meantime, Officer Stumer will check to see if it's an old application, because they get the application just like I get it. So he can check to see if it's an old application, that means that he's up for renewal. He hasn't done it yet, then it's illegal. So once Stumer finds out, and I will go and check with.
Edwin, thank you. You corrected me. It's DEP, not EPA.
We'll follow up with DEP to make sure they're doing, you know, their job, because noise, I can go on and on about how it affects people's health, but the liquor, thank you, Carolyn, for bringing that up. And I hope that we can set a precedent where we don't allow these business owners to feel like north of 125th in black and brown communities, that they can just violate the law. And because of this whole red tape, that it will take forever for them to be shut down.
No, I agree with you 100%. But like I said, between Schumer and I will check and see that I know for a fact that I haven't got one. So that means they would be operating illegally. But I'll check. I'll let you know. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Officer Schumer.
Yes, thank you.
Lyle, are you there?
I'm here. Good evening, everyone.
Could you hold one second? Detective Harper,
Yes, ma'am.
you know anything about the S-Spot, the gentleman is here from S-Spot restaurant? Lewis, are you there? The X-Pac.
Where's that at? I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly where it's located.
I'm not sure. I have the liquor license application, but I'll go over it and I'll let you know. Mr.
Okay.
Are you there? Oh, Mr. Isfat, where are you located?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
located.
Hi, we're located at Tiemann Place on the corner of Claremont.
Oh,
So,
okay.
That's yours.
yeah.
So you're a new establishment then?
Well, I guess you could say that. We opened July of 2019.
Oh,
No, not new. So I'll send you the application. You sent it a renewal, sir?
I think the renewal was like earlier this year, but Josh can speak to that.
Josh? Unmute yourself, Josh. Obviously, he's not there. I'll check Harper and I'll send it to you.
sure.
Hey, sorry, technical difficulties. Yeah, the liquor license was approved, I believe, about 30 days ago.
Okay, so you send it to me.
Yes.
To the board, that means I got it. That means I send it to you all.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Lyle, I'm sorry. Thanks again, Officer Harper. I'll call you.
Yep.
Lyle?
Hi, Carolyn again. Hi, everyone. Lyle Becker from DOT. Not much to report this month. It's been a pretty quiet one for us when it comes to CB9. Just one thing, as far as an update in regards to milling and resurfacing. I'm sure you've seen, we're still uptown in northern Manhattan doing some repaving at this point. I think we're going to be in East Harlem next week. And after that, pretty much start to work our way south into CD7 and 8, which we've been doing in between northern Manhattan work. So we should be back uptown, I would say probably later on during the summer, once our crews are a little bit further south. Again, I'm going to reiterate if there are locations within the district we feel that need to be located that we haven't gotten to this go around. You can let us know and we'll see if we can add it to a future list. We might be able to get to it later on this year. If not, we'll see what we can do in the meantime to make it temporarily safe. And yeah, I'll keep on giving the community boards uptown, community boards 9, 10, and 12 areas that will be in northern Manhattan, so long as our crews are uptown. So we'll keep you in the loop. That's about it. Like I said, it's been pretty quiet for us in CB9, but if anybody's question, I got the answer.
Okay, Lyle, I have a question for you about these containers that the pilot program. Do you have anything to say on that?
No, nothing I can mention. I'm not really familiar with the program. The one thing I was thinking about as you were discussing as far as the curbside access, I don't know if, I mean, like I said, this is just me kind of thinking about it. I don't know if this is their mentality or their thought process. I would just say, in regards to putting those containers on the sidewalk during alternate side days, it's not necessarily guaranteed that those curbs would be accessible. during alternate side days. I've been up to many a day when cars should be away from the curb, and they haven't. So I don't know if sanitation can fully guarantee that by putting those trash receptacles on the sidewalk, access to them. I don't know if that's what we're thinking, but that's just, maybe one reason besides the fact that the way that the trucks are built, they probably wouldn't be able to rise enough in order to get above the curb, which is probably why they're probably, I know, as I mentioned earlier, on the street. But I don't know. Like I say, I guess it's a matter of how those trucks are built. I don't know if they can rise above the curb in order to access those cans if they were placed on the sidewalk. The one thing I can say, like as mentioned, there might not even be access to the curb during alternate side. So, I don't know if that's their thinking, but just some food for thought.
Another question. So the zip cars, that you do in the block where you take out 2 spots or every 2
Yeah.
blocks. Would DOT consider knocking one of those blocks out or 2 blocks to fit these containers?
That I don't know.
Did you find out for us? Because that would.
I could, I can ask the question. I don't know if one would have to do with the other, but I said it's a question worth asking. I can reach out to my colleagues to see, get their thoughts, and I can get back to you. No problem.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Any questions for Mr. Blackwood from DOT?
Yes.
Victor?
Hey, Lyle. How are you, Lyle?
Victor, how you doing?
I'm good. I wouldn't want to not ask you a question, you feel left out, so I figured that out.
Thanks, Victor.
I wanted to actually compliment you and the team on the milling and paving of Carvin Avenue, Amsterdam Avenue. A lot of the streets I've driven down, they've done a great job. Sometimes it takes longer to get back with the asphalt, I know, but once they've come back, it looks good. A lot of the streets that I drive or ride on, I noticed the difference right away. So you thank the team and thank you. My second one is a follow-up from a prior email about the viaduct 153, 157, a target date for the completion. I've been asked by my neighbors and the neighbors who've lost all the parking up there, what's the target date for completion of the viaduct up 157?
That's a good question. I know that it's been pushed back a couple of times. I've been trying to lock down a date because residents in CB12 have been asking the same question. This is a project that's pretty much on the border. I'm not sure. I know that we have a liaison on site at the office. I'm not sure if we reached out to Valerie. She might have some more information.
I did. She had no more information than you have.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So I'll reach out to our Bridges division to see if they have any further details. Like I said, I've been trying to get the information myself, just because I know that we kind of pushed the date back. So I'll see what there is left to do in the area, and if they have maybe a targeted date, and we'll be in touch. But anything, I would say send me an email. Just with that question, I can forward it to my colleagues, and I'll see if we can get some answers for you.
Okay, we'll do. Thanks, Lyle.
No problem. Thanks, Victor.
Victor, I asked the same question about the time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Valerie gave me.
I got no answer either, so.
They had a date up there of June 6th. And I said, I know that's not realistic. And she didn't have an answer, but she's the consultant that works over the actual construction firm. So if anyone should have an answer, it would be her and her team, I would think. But Lyle's follow up.
But if you notice, Victor, of course, from us, they're still putting stuff in the staging area. Every day they put more stuff over there.
Oh, yes, they got a ways to go. I drive by there every day. They just put concrete the other day. So it's months down the road, 6 months, a year, 6 months minimum.
Right.
So just a target date, Lyle, not going to hold you to that, but just an idea, that's all.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, Valerie is the liaison, between the firm and us. So she works at the office on 158th Street in Broadway. And it's pretty much a resource ideally from the community. I'll see if I can get some answers as well. We'll be in touch, Victor.
Thank you.
Mhm.
As always, appreciate it.
Any questions for?
I think David Vassar has his hand up, Carolyn.
No, we took it down. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Any other question?
I'm
I
sorry.
have a question, Carolyn.
Okay, could I just throw it? Yeah, I should have unmuted myself first before I lowered my hand. Just, I'll make it quick. Lyle, this is really, I guess, mostly for you. Yes, thanks to DOT for getting this avenue paved. It really benefits cyclists. I mean, we really feel it when we hit a rut or a pothole or one of those gas vent plugs on the road. So what I really ask at this point is to get help get Amsterdam Avenue restriped with bike lanes as soon as possible. It's a great route for me to get to work. I head south to Lincoln Center where I'm a librarian, but without that striped bike lane, I really want to veer all the way over to the Greenway, which is lovely, but it's way out of my way. So and I'd love to see a bike lane on Morningside Drive. I'm just going to throw that in along the park, just from Amsterdam Avenue to 110th Street. I think a lot of people would benefit. There's a city bike installation right in front of the Margaret Douglas School. So I think it would be a fantastic place for a single bike lane running along the park to 110th Street. That's it. Just wanted to throw that out. Thanks, Lyle.
Thanks, David.
Any other question for Lyle Blackwood?
Lyle, on 141st and Convent on the, I would say east-south corner, the crossing pole there, it was poorly done. They left you can look at the other three. In this one, you can tell that the aesthetics of it, it looks out of place with the other threes that are in the other three corners. I can send you a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. You can let me know if this is, something that has to be redone or if it's, in line with what DOT permits. You can see that it's pretty erupted compared to the other ones.
What is wrong with the light, Edward?
The pole, when they redid the sidewalk, now what you have is that the base is elevated. And you can look at the other three where the base is basically in line with the sidewalk. So you can tell that this one was, lower. And aesthetically, it looks much different than all the others.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to send me some
I'll
pictures,
send you the pictures. Yeah.
no problem. Yeah, I can take a look into it. I'm not sure if it's like that we're working on or kind of might be, but I can get some answers for you. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Lyle, would you recheck on the light on Riverside Drive at 150th Street, which is still?
Okay, no problem. 151. Yeah, I know we had some conversations about that light too, so I'll see if I can get an update for you. It's still out, you said?
Yeah, it's still out. I know I got the letter stating that it was resolved, but it's not.
Yeah.
The light has never been on. It's still out.
Okay. All right, I'll reach out to our street lighting folks again to see if we can get some eyes up there again. No problem.
Thank you.
And you said, and it's on the park side, right? Just making sure. Just want to make sure.
On the downtown side of the park side.
Gotcha. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay.
Victor,
Thanks.
Victor, can you see if Detective Cheatham is there?
Hold on one sec. Cheatham.
Not here.
No, it's not here.
Thank you. So, are there any other questions going forward? Once, twice, 3 times? Well, let me thank you all for coming tonight. Hope to see you next month. I appreciate it.
Carolyn, can I just make one comment?
Yes, Louis.
This is regarding, we spoke about it, I guess maybe you were on, maybe you were on. Each borough is going to get one free bus.
Oh, yes.
So I know we spoke about the M120, excuse me, the M101, but I wanted to reach out to the other community boards and get their feedback before I go back to WEAC, because I don't want it to just be CB9 saying it. I want to know what CB11, because I'm a transportation guy, what 11, 12, and 10 think about that idea, and then loop back and just say, hey, we have a consensus and just try to push for it.
So that's one free month, is that correct?
Yeah, it'll be one bus line per borough.
Okay. All right.
And since that one swashed through all 4 Northern Manhattan communities, I just think that would be the ideal one. And it has a lot of volume. So a lot of people would benefit from that, that being a free line.
Thank you.
So I'm just telling you, that's what I'm going to do. Well, not telling you, I'm just saying that's what I plan to do.
Oh, okay, no problem. I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
So are there any other questions? None being heard. Thank you all again for coming. I appreciate it. Hope to see some of you next month. Have a good night. all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Fun. Take care.
Hey,
Everyone.
get on your bikes, everyone. Take care.
That's up to the people.
All right, give it a try.